Okay class, I'm going to do a wee short video on the basics of measuring and marking out on metal. Now, as you can see, I've got a wee piece of square plate there. It's about 100mm square and about 2mm, 3mm thick. Now we can use various tools to mark that out on the metal, but as you can see the metal there is a bit grubby, a bit marked, a bit covered in different things. So the question is, what could we do to make it easier to see our mark? The answer is apply Engineer's Blue. Now you can see in good Blue Peter fashion I've done that already. Now for me, working with metal is a good starting point is to find or create a datum point. So somewhere that you can work from. Rather than working from edges and corners, which may not be quite as square as you would like them to be, you're better to create your own datum points. Now that can be a straight line or it can be a cross that you work both sides from. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the centre of this piece of metal. I'm going to mark two centre lines and I'm going to use them as my datum points. Okay, so material there, 100mm. So I'm going to use this tool. Name and what's it used for. Okay, now that tool was of course the scribe and it's used for marking lines, okay, scratching lines. So I'm going to do 50 that way and I'm going to do 50 that way. And that's giving me a wee cross there right in the middle. Now that cross is the centre point of that piece of steel. But what I want to do is create two lines right across the metal. So I'm going to use this tool. What's the name, guys, and what's it used for? Okay, so the answer is Engineer's Square. So I'm going to use my scribe to mark my centre lines. Okay, so I've now got two centre lines there which you can just about make out on the video. Now say I was going to cut out the middle portion of that metal there, cutting a square from say here, okay. So what I'd like to do is, if I've got the size, say my hole size is going to be, my square is going to be 30mm. So rather than try to guess where it's going to be, I can measure from here back 15 and this way 15. I can then measure up 15 and 15, which is going to give me an overall size of 30. So again, take your steel rule. If you lay it at 15 on the centre line, that gives you a mark at 0 and a mark at 30. Okay, do the same further down. So I've got 30 and 0. Now I can use either my Engineer's Square to square that line, or I can just use my steel rule to scratch me a line. Now don't worry if it goes further than you expect it to, it doesn't matter, right? So we're just going to go 30, okay? Now I'm going to turn the metal and I'm going to do the same again. So up here, I'm going to do 0, 30. And again, placing my mark on 15 on the centre line, I'm going to go 0 and 30. Now I can join those two dots together. I say, don't worry if you go over the marks. Okay, so you can see how I've marked that square out. Now again, it could be getting, if there's more marks on it, it can get a bit difficult. So what you can do is, you can mark out witness marks, which allows you to see where the actual lines cross over. So to do that, what I'm going to do is use this tool. Now it looks like a scribe, but you can see it's got a thicker end. So what's the name of the tool, guys? So the tool is a centre punch, and you take that and you can mark the corners, okay? Excuse the noise. Now that's marked my 4 corners, and that lets me know where those corners are. Now I can put some scratches on there, like waste load line scratches you would use in woodwork, to show me that's the bit that I'm going to remove. Okay, so that's kind of marking out something in the centre of a piece of material. Another way we can, if we're looking for lines, will be maybe say parallel lines. So we want to create some parallel lines down the side of the metal here. So the question is, what tool are we going to use for that? Here's the tool here. Okay, now the name of the tool is odd leg calipers. Okay, now if I want to put a parallel line, say 10mm from the edge, I set my tool to that. Okay, so it's just slightly over. Let me see, 10mm. I'm going to open it up a wee bit further. So set that to 10. And then I can slide that up and down the edge to create a mark. You can just about see I've created a parallel line using the odd leg calipers. So another tool that we use is this one here. Okay, now what's the name of these? And you should have said spring dividers. Now the spring dividers are really a set of compasses. They have 2 points, whereas a set of compasses would have a point and a pencil. I'm going to use the 2 points to scratch marks, okay? Now these can be used to mark circles or arcs. Let's go with this centre point here. Say I was going to make a circle, say 40mm, or say 80mm in diameter. Let's go for 80mm in diameter. So I would set my compasses to 40mm, because that's the size of the radius. So you unwind the screw, and wind the screw, it opens up the legs. So I'm going to wind that back to 40. And that's that set. Now, if I use that straight away, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen, guys? Question. And how can I fix that problem? So the problem is, the metal could slide, the tool can slide on the metal. So I need to create an indent here, a centre punch. So we go back to your centre punch and create an indent right there in the centre point. Now I can now use my dividers by placing this leg in that wee hole, which stabilises it, and then I can just take my time and mark my circle all the way around. Okay, so you might need to go around 2 or 3 times just to get a line that you can see. But that creates a big circle. Now it's not very often you'll make a circle as big as that, but what you could do a lot is put an arc on, like to this corner. So the same principle applies. Say we want to create an arc on this corner, what we can do is, say we make it 20mm, okay, 20mm radius. So take your steel rule and again set your compasses to 20mm. Okay, so that's 20mm. Now we need a centre point for that. And the easiest way to do that is to make your centre point is to use your compasses almost like your odd leg calipers, and scratch a line there on this side, turn them to this side, scratch a line there, and that gives you a centre point here. Now, if you take your centre punch, make your mark there. Now, you've not adjusted your compasses in any way, but that then gives you an arc, which is just basically part of a circle. So you can then mark that arc, and that will be a 20mm radius. Okay, so that corner is a 20mm radius. Okay guys, so that's just some basic measuring and marking out using different tools. We've got the compasses here, or spring dividers. You've got a scribe, steel rule, engineer's square, odd leg calipers, and a centre punch. Okay guys, there will be a wee question sheet follows this. If you could fill that out and submit that, that'll give me an understanding that you've actually done a wee bit of work here today. Okay guys, thanks very much.